Jerry's Workshop is a small village located on the Winter Island, and it opens to visitors once every 5 days. The Jerry Island offers a wide variety of activities to do, such as the gift attack minigame, the chicken races, collecting gifts, and much more. However, not all of the activities on the Jerry Island get much recognition, Yeti Fishing being one that consistently gets overlooked despite it being arguably one of the best. But before we get into the details, if you have any further questions or comments about this video, be sure to pop into my Twitch streams. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. That's a great place to ask any questions that you might have, so I highly recommend you check it out. With that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Okay, so as you can see in today's video, we're going to be talking about Yeti fishing, or mainly just fishing on the Jerry Island, but I do want to get more into the specifics about catching Yetis, and how catching Yetis will definitely increase your profits, and a couple of other things as well when you do fish on the Jerry Island, and just some stuff regarding that concept in general. So, the first point that I want to make about Yeti fishing is that it is extremely profitable. Now, Yeti fishing is very, very good for making money, as you can get some very nice items, including obviously the baby Yeti pet, and that is the main thing that earns you a lot of coins when you do go fishing over on the ice lakes. But you can still catch a lot of other things like hilts of true ice, Yeti rods, a lot of red gifts, blue hunks of ice, lily pads, and a bunch of other random stuff that do appear in the loot table. And all this stuff also sells for some fairly solid money, and that is also excluding all the other loot that you also get from fishing on the Jerry Island. So as you guys may know, Yetis can be caught at fishing level 25, and when you fish up the Yeti sea creature, it has a loot table to drop a bunch of really cool items. So I'm going to list them all out for you right here, and I'm going to put up a nice graphic on the screen just to display the information a lot easier for you guys to understand. And we'll get started with the more plain and simple items, and that is being ice, lily pads, raw fish, and sponges. You can pretty much get all these mobs, namely the lily pads and raw fish, from basically any mob in the game, but the ice is caught from a lot of the frozen creatures, and the sponges can be caught from some other stuff, and also just from fishing up in general. So there's really not too much to say about these ones. They're just the bland drops, the ones that you'll pretty much get guaranteed every time you catch a Yeti, and that goes for a lot of other sea creatures as well. The next items up here on the loot table are going to be the enchanted lily pads, the blue hunks of ice, and also the red gifts. Now these ones are a little bit more interesting. Obviously enchanted lily pads do sell for a significantly higher amount than regular lily pads, and you can catch around 1 to 2 enchanted lily pads per Yeti. Which, as you can see, if I pull up the bazaar here for you guys to look at, and I look at the enchanted lily pads, if I were to buy one enchanted lily pad right now, I would be able to purchase it for 22k coins, which means that if I managed to get 2 of them from one Yeti, I could sell them for almost 45,000 coins profit, and that is just with enchanted lily pads alone. Now, I also mentioned the blue hunks of ice and the red gifts. Now, the blue hunks of ice are arguably somewhat useless, as you really can't sell them for too much money unless you sell them as a full stack. Because as you can see, one hunk of blue ice is only 29.8k coins on the lowest bin, and then 4 of them here is about 100k, so 3 of them should be around 90k, maybe 100k as well, depending on what lowest bin prices are looking like. So if you caught hunks of blue ice, they're not going to sell for too much. They will sell for a little bit more than the enchanted lily pads, but they might be harder to sell on auction as the demand for it isn't super great in comparison to that of the enchanted lily pads. Next up, we have the red gifts. Just like the enchanted lily pads, they do sell in the bazaar for a fairly solid amount of money. I will pull up the data on the screen for you guys to have a look at right now. And you can see that buying one single red gift right now when the event is not active will be 57k. And if I were to buy 3 of them, then it would sell for 171,000 coins. And that's some pretty good money for one Yeti catch and just red gift loot table alone, not including the lily pads and the other random stuff you can get. That is some pretty good money just from one single catch. And I would say that is fairly substantial and can add up quite nicely over time. But now that we got the more bland and sort of mediocre loot table stuff out of the way, let's move on to the more interesting stuff, starting off with the hilt of true ice. Now, the hilt of true ice used to be very valuable. I remember a period of time where the hilts of true ice used to go for around 10 million coins, and that was a really great time because if you were able to get your hands on one of these from a Yeti, of course, you'd be able to sell it for some very nice profit and make some good money out of it. But nowadays, the prices for the hilt of true ice are looking a lot closer to only 370,000 coins, which isn't too bad. However, that is still better than the red gift loot table with almost double the amount you would make. So all in all, it's not too bad. Once again, this is disregarding all the other things that you could get out of the loot table as well. And with the hilt of true ice out of the way, let's move on to the Yeti rod. So the Yeti rod, similar to the hilt of true ice, used to be somewhat valuable and did sell for a pretty good amount of money, but nowadays the prices of the Yeti rod are looking a lot closer to, I think, also 300k as well. You can see here that the cheapest bin clean one, no buffs, no nothing, not even any fish core on it either, is only 320,000 coins. Once again, this is still better than the red gift loot table, which is the best loot table out of the things that we covered just before, but it doesn't come anywhere close to the baby Yeti pet. And if I pull up the cheapest epic baby Yeti pet on screen for you right now, you can see that a level 1 epic baby Yeti, not even a legendary one, an epic one, the cheapest one on the market right now is 54.5 million coins. Now, this is why I say Yeti fishing is very valuable. Even if you aren't able to catch a baby Yeti pet, or you aren't able to get your hands on any of that stuff, you can still catch some pretty solid items from all the things that I mentioned before. However, if you are able to get somewhat lucky and you fish for, say, maybe 4 to 5 hours and you can catch at least one pet at some point, or maybe one pet per event, then you're going to be able to secure at least 50 million coins, and that is a very nice amount of money, as you guys may know. So I would say that if you are fishing for Yetis and you don't even catch a baby Yeti pet for, say, maybe 8 hours, 12 hours, or you fish for a long time and don't catch one, but then you end up getting one towards the end of an event, or maybe on your third time fishing, then you can pretty much secure a lot of money for all that time spent, and that's also disregarding all the other drops that you would have gotten in the process. But before we move on from talking about the profits you can earn from Yeti fishing and the money that there is on this market, I want to also talk about why the market is relatively stable and is worth farming for. And the main reason for this is because the Jerry Island is a limited time only event, and the island only opens once every 5 days for visitors. Now, what does this mean, you may be asking? Well, if you think about it, if the auction house has a certain amount of items that do get caught up from the Yetis during this event, and we'll say that about 2 pages worth of baby Yetis get caught up. We'll just go with 2 pages as a pretty easy number to remember. Once the Jerry Island does close and no more baby Yetis are being caught up, and we've still only got 2 pages of auctions left over, this means that people who want baby Yeti pets are going to buy out a lot of the auctions, and then obviously the pages of auctions will start diminishing over time, and a lot of baby Yetis will be lost on the auction house to people who are buying them, of course. And this means that the prices will slowly start to increase over time as the event is not active and people really want this pet. So essentially, my point here is that the prices will start rising slightly over time until the next event rolls around and more people can come back to fish up more baby Yeti pets and obviously all the other random loot. And then all these items will start to sell for a little bit cheaper because there's more and more of them being caught up and put up on the auction house for other people to buy. But let's take away the focus from baby Yeti pets for the time being. Even if you're not able to catch a baby Yeti pet at all in any time that you spend fishing, whether that be 1 hour or whether that be a full day's worth, this doesn't make this option of fishing a bad one by any means. You can still catch up a lot of other decent items like I mentioned before, but you can also catch up all the other frozen creatures that you do end up catching during this event. And you can get a lot of white and green gifts from a lot of those other snow mobs, including the Frosties, the Frozen Stees, and the Grinches. And from the gifts alone, you can make a pretty solid amount, normally around 1 to 2 million, depending on how long you farm for. And then of course you're going to be able to catch all the ink sacs, lily pads, raw fish, raw salmon, puffer fish, clownfish, and any other fishing loot, and all this does rack up over time depending on how much you fish for, and all these little things all add up together. Maybe the hunks of ice, the gifts, the random fishing loot, etc., and more miscellaneous stuff eventually rounds out to a very nice amount of money. And if you are able to catch maybe the occasional hilt of true ice, or the occasional Yeti rod, or even the occasional baby Yeti pet, that's going to round up to a very, very nice amount of money in the long run, and I would say it makes Yeti fishing a great option. And I've actually got the perfect example of this standing right behind me in the chest over here. So as you can see, I did do a little bit of Yeti fishing off camera, and I did 1 hour to be more specific. And all the loot that I managed to acquire from that little hour that wasn't the miscellaneous ink sacs, lily pads, and all the random fishing loot, I did end up throwing in this chest, so I'll open that up to show you guys. And as you can see, I was able to get 5 ice rods, I got a full fairy set including the pants, I almost got 2 stacks of hunks of ice, 2 Titanic experience bottles, and then 2 magnet 6s and a wake rune. So if I go ahead and just tally up what all these things sell for, The ice rods all sell for 20k each, which means that if I got rid of all of them at the NPC, I would make 100,000 coins just from ice rods alone. And then if I were to sell my stack of hunk of ice, and let's just say we got another stack as well, just to make things easier, I'd be able to sell both of these for around 26,000 coins profit, which just adds on to the extra 100k that we got in the process. Moving on to the fairy armor here, all these pieces do sell for a different amount of money. So this helmet goes for 5,000 coins, this pair of boots goes for 8,000, the chest plate goes for 10,000. To make things easier, I'm going to say that each one of these pieces is worth 8,000 coins. And if that were the case, then all the pieces in my inventory here would end up selling for 40,000 coins in total. And if we add that onto our tally of the 100,000 coins from the ice rods and the 26,000 coins from the hunks of ice, that adds up to a total of 166,000 coins just from these small amount of items fished up alone. And now we can move on to the Titanic experience bottles. Now these ones are definitely the money maker in here. I did get lucky with Titanics because my blessing enchant did manage to proc when I caught this. But that just goes to show of the luck that you can get with Yeti fishing. I didn't actually end up catching any Yetis or anything special from the event at all, other than the Titanic experience bottle, and that may happen to you as well. You might be able to catch Yeti and get some enchanted lily pads, you might catch a Titanic, or you might catch a guardian pet, and there's a whole bunch of other things that you can actually get in the process. So, if I go ahead and show you guys how much the Titanics would sell for, 2 Titanic experience bottles goes for around 660,000 coins. We'll go with 660,000 to make things easy for you guys, and we can add that onto the original score of 166,000 to bring our total that we ended up getting from this event of 826,000 coins. So already we're actually getting very close to that 1 million coin mark. So how about we check out the rest of the loot that I have left over. We do have the Magnet 6 books and we have the Wake Rune. So starting off with the Wake Rune, this does sell for about 12,000 coins. Nothing too crazy, but it is money. Money is money, and that adds onto our total score. And then the Magnet 6 books sell for about 3,000 coins as well, which means that we ended up getting 6,000 coins from the Magnet books, 12,000 coins for the Wake Rune, meaning that these 3 items here all added up to about 18,000 coins in total. And then once again, adding this to the total score of 826,000 coins so far, this brings it up to a total of 844,000 coins earned from the fishing event. And the last thing that I need to add on to this whole thing as well is the money that I got from selling all the fishing loot, which I did manage to write down after I finished fishing, and that was 305,000 coins. So overall, we ended up making 1.15 million coins from our little 1 hour of Yeti fishing, and this was with no Yetis at all, which means that even if you don't have fishing 25 and you can't catch Yetis, then it's not a very bad money making strat compared to things like the Spider's Den fishing or maybe even Birch Park fishing. So now that we have all that money talk out of the way, and I've shown you guys that Yeti fishing is relatively profitable and can make you money even if you do get somewhat unlucky, I want to cover some of the less important parts of Yeti fishing, which I would say are probably one of the most important, but most people are normally in it all for the money, which is fine. Skyblock is a game where earning coins is definitely a major part of it. However, in my opinion, the best part of Yeti fishing is definitely the overall chill vibes that you do get when you do fish on the Jerry Island. If you just get a bunch of friends, guildmates, maybe some people that you've met in game, or even just random people in a lobby, and you just all party up, you all huddle around at the Jerry Island at one of the ice lakes, and you just fish up some sea creatures together, it can be one of the most relaxing, but also one of the most rewarding ways to earn money and grind up some skills in the process. As you do get fishing levels, you do get some pretty nice income on the side, but overall you can just chuck on some music or hop in a voice chat with some friends. And at least for me, I'm happy to sacrifice some profits that I could be earning in, say, dungeon runs or zealot grinding or whatever it may be, in exchange for a much more less intense and relaxed environment. As Yeti fishing isn't very stressful, it's a lot of good fun, and it can be a very nice break from the regular super intensive type of skyblock. As I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video right now definitely love to do a lot of those other activities as well, and probably haven't even tried Yeti fishing or haven't tried doing it the way I just said. But with all that being said, that's going to wrap up everything for today's video. So hopefully you guys did find this enjoyable or informative in some way. And if you did, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel, because I make these Hypixel Skyblock videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. And also, if you got any further comments, questions, or suggestions about this video, or you want to talk to me in a more personal environment, be sure to visit me over on my Twitch streams. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. But with all that being said, guys, hopefully you all did enjoy this video, and as always, Take care and peace. Imagine not having shark armor. Couldn't be me. Yeah, I had to look up to check. Wait, hold on, I'm a deafen.
I hate you. I hate you. You can't hear it. I'm saying I hate you. You can't hear it. Gossiping.